Good morning, Lowestoft. This is Esther checking in for our 10:30-ish. It's Monday, the 29th of June. We've been doing this for ages now, and I'm here again this morning. Usually I would be heading up the town centre chaplaincy team in Lowestoft, but at the minute we're still trying to work out how to do that safely and well for everybody. So I am broadcasting from my bedroom 3 days a week, our 10:30-ish thought for the day, thoughts on things that might help in lockdown and just might help us through, and with our spirituality, with our emotional health, with our well-being, with all of it. And I've called this one this morning the one where I need to feel heard. The one where I need to feel heard. I don't know whether that resonates with you this morning, whether you feel like you need to feel heard and listened to and accepted, and whether like you're speaking but you just feel like you're talking at the wall, like you're with people but they're not really hearing you. Do you know what I mean? Like your words are coming out but you're not really being heard. And so that was just with me this morning. It was sort of where my mind went, and I wanted to read you an ancient poem. It's an ancient poem from the Jesus tradition because that's the tradition that I'm rooted in, but it's like absolutely about anxiety, about pressure, about sleep, about being heard, about feeling disconnected. All of these different things that I think we go through in life. So I'm just going to read you the poem and then we're just going to see how it relates to life this morning. Okay, so this is what it says. It says, answer me when I call to you, O God who declares me innocent. Like, free me from my troubles. Have mercy on me and hear my prayer. How long will you people ruin my reputation? How long will you make groundless accusations at me? How long will you continue your lies? You can be sure of this. The Lord set apart the godly for himself. The Lord will answer when I call to him. Don't sin by letting anger control you. Think about it overnight and remain silent. Offer sacrifices in the right spirit and trust the Lord. Many people say, who will show us better times? Let your face smile upon us, Lord. You have given me greater joy than those who have abundant harvests of grain and new wine. In peace I will lie down and sleep. For you alone, Lord, keep me safe. Like, I don't have a completely coherent thought about this morning because it's been a bit of a manic morning, but the whole thing starts with answer me when I call to you. Like the question that I started with, do you ever feel like you're not heard? Like you're shouting to people around you and they just don't hear you. Like people make assumptions about you based on your past or on a prejudice they have about how you look or where you come from or your race or your sexuality. Do you ever just feel like you're screaming to be known and understood and just no one is listening? Like you pray and you meditate and you do all the right stuff, but it just feels pointless. Because reality is that when we're seeking to connect with other people, with the Creator, when we're looking to transcend our flaws, when we're trying to live less out of self and more out of connection, when we're going through the crap, it can feel just so much like we're alone, can't it? Not supported, not held, not known, just not, do you know? And I think this is where the writer of this poem is. I think there's anxiety here. I think that he's depressed. Maybe it's just Monday, and it's a bad day. What we know about him is he was a king. He was a warrior in a tribal country, and other nations wanted to destroy him. No wonder he's low. I'm guessing that we don't. Physically, none of us listening are ruling countries and having other nations trying to destroy us. But he sort of goes from like, why is no one listening to me? Why am I not heard? I'm praying and nothing is changing. And then he sort of expands a bit on why he feels like that. Like specifically, he needs help because people are judging him. They're like tainting his reputation. They're putting stuff out on social media about him that isn't true. They're lying. There's like false news. There's gossip. He's being accused of stuff he hasn't done. I don't know if anybody ever faces anything remotely like that, you know, like people who are just against you, who just would do anything to see you fail, who just judge everything you say and everything you do. Those people, you know, who just hold that past mistake against you, or those many past mistakes, like you're never going to achieve because you were like this and you might as well just give up. Like, and then there's those people who see that you're trying to change, yeah, and you're trying to grow and flourish and live, and they just want to knock you down, you know. Morning, Anthony. Morning, Ian. Nice to see you. Sort of see you. See your pictures. So there's like the outward stuff, isn't there? The stuff that like other people are doing to us that make us just cry out for help. And then there's all the ways we do it to ourselves, aren't there? You know, like how are you knocking yourself down at the minute? How are you turning on yourself and accusing yourself over and over and over? Do you just bring up your past to yourself and you hold it against yourself? Like you're holding the crap you did in the past against yourself, and it's just stopping you moving on. It's like blocking you. How are you listening to the lies in your own head? You know, the ones that tell you that you're not enough, that you can't trust, that you're not liked, that you're not what you should be. You know, they're really pervasive, aren't they, these lies? They become like an internal dialogue in our head. How much longer are you going to cling to a worldview that's got cracks in it, do you know, that just doesn't work? How much longer are you going to stay believing lies about who you are and what your purpose is? Because they're continually being spoken to us, aren't they? Sometimes from outside, from the people that just want to get us, but mostly just from inside our heads. Like, for all of us that like, really, is there like evil in the world? Just listen to the destructiveness that's inside your head, yeah, and know that there is a reality, you know. So David has this question. He like literally shouts out, how long are you going to ruin my reputation? How long are you going to continue your lies? And I just think that's one of those questions that we need to be asking ourselves, you know, like, how long are you going to continue to believe the lies in your head about who you are, about what your purpose is, about what your value is, about what you can achieve, about how great you are? How long are you going to continue to believe the lies that tell you, well, it's okay to indulge in that, it's okay to do this, it's okay to believe that, when actually it's really not, and that's really destructive for you, and you really need to move away from it? They're the questions I think we have to ask ourselves, aren't they? And I love the writer of these Psalms. His name's David, and he is really up and down, you know. He's really honest. He feels really alone when he's writing this. He knows that in the past, God has been there for him. Like, he's had these spiritual experiences in the past, and they're really, really significant for him. They've shaped his life. He knows that in some way God has forgiven him, has made him right with him. Like, he knows he's not perfect, far from it, because he realises his flaws, but he has thrown himself in the past at the mercy of God. Like, he has clung to the divine and has found the answers that he's looking for. But maybe like you know, like if you think you don't need a little freeing from your flaws, if you think that your innate destructive tendencies aren't actually there, then maybe you're believing lies about yourself too. And like David, you need to go back to the divine, you know, and just say, I can't carry on with this. But it's like halfway through this poem, David started with, why don't you answer me? I'm crying out to you and you don't listen. And then he's had like a rant at the people that are throwing lies at him, and maybe at himself. And it's like halfway through he starts to pull himself together and give himself a talking to. And he reminds himself that when he's not in the pit, that when he can see clearly, when he's not feeling so overwhelmed like he is today, when it isn't that Monday morning where the depression is heavy and you can't get out of bed, when it isn't that day where you're just in pain and your illness is getting at you, when it isn't that day when you've just convinced yourself that everybody hates you and nobody likes you, and God doesn't even exist and we're all alone in the world, he can hear God's voice, when he looks back, he can remember the times when it's felt better. He can remember the times when he's connected with God, and he knows from his past that God hears him. And so that low point that you're at the minute, that place where you feel lost and alone, like nobody cares, like you're ready to slam the door on everybody, remember that you are believing lies, that your past tells you that is not true, that there's been times in the past when you have spiritually connected, when God has been there for you, but just right now it feels alone and it feels like no one is listening. But that is not entirely true. And what happens in this story is he says some amazing things. He says, like, don't sin by letting anger control you. Think about it overnight and remain silent. Like, I love that. He's like, do you have the tendency to kick off right now? Yeah? Do you have the tendency to like blame everybody and have one of those bitch fests on Facebook or Instagram or somewhere? Or in your head, do you have that tendency to start beating yourself up right now because you're rubbish and you're terrible and you're not coping? He says, like, don't do that. Like, think about it. Remain silent, He says, the Lord will answer when I call to him. It's like he reminds himself, don't lose it right now. Don't let it overwhelm you. I know it feels like it is. I know it feels bad. But the Lord has answered me in the past. Like, the divine has been there. The divine is still here, even though it feels really, really crap and low today. And then he finishes his poem by going, do you know what? Like, some people are asking, when are we going to have better times? Like, when are things going to get better? Like, we're all in that place at the minute, aren't we? Like, when is it going to get better? When am I going to be able to hug somebody? When am I going to, like, properly be able to go and have a drink or go to a restaurant? When am I going to be able to have my friends in my house, It's like, when is it going to get better? When am I going to feel less exhausted? When am I going to feel less depressed? When am I going to be able to beat the demons in my head? And then he says, let your face smile on us, God, because you have given me great joy, and in peace I will lie down and sleep, for you alone, Lord, keep me safe. It's like he comes full circle. Like, he starts with going, I'm all alone. Who is going to hear me? Nobody is listening to me. I am on my own. And then he confronts like his inner demons and his anxiety from what's going on around him, from the stuff that's really tough in life. And then he gives himself a bit of a talking to, like, do you know, it's really hard, but I know that in the past it's been better. I know that there's been connection for me. I know that God has been there for me. And then he says, do you know what? That sort of helps, and I'm gonna lie down. I'm gonna have a rest, and because I do think, God, that you keep me safe. Now that makes me think, like some of you in the comments are saying, do you know what? I've suffered from depression. I've been fighting this for years. Life is really hard. Like, David finishes by going, God, you're going to keep me safe. Now, like, practically, like, he's a warrior in a tribal country. Is he going to be safe? Like, these people are still out to get him. The depression's still real, right? The inner demons are still there. Like, the crap that's going on is still happening. Like, coronavirus is still spreading. Lockdown is still a reality. The people that cause you pain and worry are still there. The illness that you live with is still there. So what can he possibly mean? Like, does he mean, like, if I trust God, suddenly it's all going to be cool and it's all going to be fine? Like, no, I don't think he's that naive. Do you know what I mean? I don't think that's how it is. But I think safety, like, it can be physical. Like, it can be, God has kept me from that. Like, I feel safe. But also, if we go back over what he says, he's like, we feel safe when we put our mind in the right place, When he says, he reminds himself of what is true. He reminds himself, I'm going to feel safe because I'm not going to let anger overwhelm me. Like, I'm going to give that to God right now. If I'm on the verge of just losing it, I'm just going to give that to God, because I am not going to be safe when anger overwhelms me. You know, it's going to take me to a really low, dark place, and it's not going to help me. So if I want the Lord to keep me safe, I need to give him that anger, you know. I need to pause from what I was going to say that was going to be destructive. I need to remain silent. And then he says he's going to offer sacrifices to God. It means he's just going to sit with the divine and just breathe and give himself over and go, I can't do this on my own. Help me. It's like the other way he's going to feel safe is he's going to remember that God does hear his prayer. Like at the minute he feels low, but he's going to remind himself that God is in the business of listening, and he's going to give him his lies, the accusations, all of the stuff that's going on. He's going to give it back and go, answer me, God. Answer me, keep me safe. I'm going to give you the anger. I'm going to give you the loneliness. I'm going to give you all of the lies that I believe and all of the stuff I'm fighting. And I'm going to ask you to keep me safe through it. I'm going to ask you to take my hand. I'm not going to try and do it on my own. You know, he says, the Lord will answer when I call to him. Like, you might just be someone who's like, really, God? Like, really? Answers to prayer? Like, what? Like, honestly, I'm sort of there. I don't believe in a cosmic magician in the sky that's suddenly going to click his fingers and make everything okay when you ask for it. I think it's about realising who we are and realising our need and giving ourselves over to the one who just holds it all together. Like, be honest about the depression you're fighting. Be honest about the fact that you feel alone. Be honest about the demons in your head. Be honest about the anger that wants to control you. And you will feel safe when you give it over to the one who holds it all together. This isn't about easy answers. It's about relationally putting yourself in a place with the divine where you can go, hear me, and help me. So may you this morning, this grey, cloudy Monday morning, with whatever stuff it is you're fighting, with whatever things are trying to ruin your reputation, with whatever accusations are coming at you from your head or from other people, whatever lies are being thrown at you, like in reality, or the ones that so powerfully control your head, whatever place you're in where you feel like you are shouting and nobody is listening and you're banging against a brick wall and you're on your own, may you know that God is there. May you know that he will answer when you call to him. It feels bad today in some ways for some of us, but he will answer when you call to him. Take a breath, invite him in, hand it over. Do you know what I mean? Like just pause and just send out to God all of that stuff, and then ask for that peace that it will keep you safe from yourself, safe from the lies, safe from all of the stuff that goes on. Not like nothing bad will ever happen, not like some fairy tale, but in a really real way, you know, like clinging and asking for help. Okay, that's my thought for the day. I hope that helps and that makes sense. That comes from the 4th Psalm in one of the ancient parts of the Bible. So if that makes sense to you, have a look and have a little rant along with David as he asks for help. Okay, take care. We will be back on Wednesday morning, same time, 10:30, with a new thought for the day. See you then.